So a lot of people are scared of injuring their back when they start training with kettlebells. So this is a question I get a lot from people I work with or from people just in the comments asking me how can they protect their back when they start training. So I have 3 tips for you. But before I get into those 3 tips, the cause of back injuries is not actually training. If you are someone who trains regularly, your risk of back injury is actually very low. The people who are most at risk of back injury are people who don't train, who don't lift weights at all. Why? Well, because we spend all of our time sitting down. Most of us have sedentary jobs. If you spend your whole day sitting at a desk, it's like keeping a Ferrari in the garage and never giving it a run around. If you do that, the car will break down. You have to give that car a run around every now and then. You have to get the engine going. You have to get the oil flowing. The same is true with the body. You have to use muscles if you want to keep them strong. And the issue is people go from sedentary, they do nothing, and then suddenly they think, I'm going to get my health and fitness in order. They get this wave of motivation. They jump into training. They do too much too soon, and their weak, fragile muscles, what happens? They get injured. Okay, so here's how to safely start training so that you don't injure your back or actually any muscle group in your body. So, number 1, think strategically about the weight that you want to use. If you're unsure, my advice is to go to a physical store. Go to a physical store, even if you don't plan on buying the kettlebell from there, just so that you can pick it up, see how it feels. It shouldn't feel too light, but it shouldn't feel too heavy. You want to find the Goldilocks kettlebell from this store. And if you're unsure, if you have 2 different weights and you're unsure, just go with the lighter one. There is no risk or there is no downside necessarily to going with a lighter kettlebell, because if you go with a lighter one, you can learn technique. That is the downside of kettlebells. You do have to learn some technique, but you can learn the technique safely, and then you can safely progress to heavier and heavier weights as you go. This is not a sprint. So if you're unsure, go with a lighter weight to start with. All right, pick the weight. You've picked the weight. Now you want to make sure that your form is good with that weight. It's not just the weight of the kettlebell that is going to increase or decrease your risk of injury. It's also how you are using it. So I recommend you film yourself, film your technique. When people talk about being scared of training, scared of back injuries, I think what they actually mean is they don't want to do swings, they don't want to do snatches. They see people do these movements and that's what scares them, because they think, if I ever tried that movement, my back would just snap in half. It's not quite true. It's not quite true. If you've picked the weight correctly, you've picked a weight that even is maybe too light for you. Who knows? Who knows? But you've picked a sensible weight. You now have to focus on getting your technique right. Get your hip hinge mechanics right. What does it actually mean? It means when you're doing things like swings, when you're doing things like snatches, if you're going to go straight into snatches, which I don't recommend, but when you're doing swings, when you're doing deadlifts, making sure that your form is correct, that your back is neutral. You have a neutral spine, like this. It doesn't have to be like a tabletop. It doesn't have to be completely straight. The spine has natural curvature. But it has to be safe. If you film yourself and you realize that, oh, my lower back actually curves a lot, there is a very unnatural curve about my lower back, well, then you know, thank God I picked a lighter kettlebell, because now I can work on the technique. And when my technique is good, I can move on to step 3. And this is the final step I'm going to tell you about. Step 3 is progress slowly. Do not add too much too soon. By going too fast, by trying to speed run kettlebells, by trying to win the game of kettlebells, you are basically changing your risk of injury from will I get injured to when will I get injured. You are going to get injured if you go too fast straight out the gate. So pick a light weight, learn good technique, and then slowly progress. If you feel now comfortable, let's say you've got a 12 or a 16 kilo kettlebell, you feel comfortable with 2-handed swings, you think your form is good, don't just go up to a 20 kilo kettlebell. Start adding a bit more volume. What do I mean by volume? I mean more reps and more sets over time. Increase the progression in very slow increments. This is a problem with kettlebells, is that they come in quite wide ranges of weight. You can't go, if you go to a gym and you have a barbell, you can add 0.5 kilos or like 1 pound to each side quite easily. You can't do that with kettlebells, unfortunately. So it's even more reason to make sure that you are slowly progressing. And as you slowly progress, here's what happens. Your core, so your abs, your glutes, your hamstrings, all of the supporting muscles around your lower back also get stronger. The stronger that they are, the stronger your kind of torso and your hips are as a whole, and the stronger your body is as a unit, the stronger each individual muscle therefore is. Does that make sense? If you have, let's say you have a weak lower back and you have weak glutes and you have a weak core, you do too much too soon, you'll get injured. If you can strengthen your core and strengthen your glutes, even if you have a weak lower back, you have some protection. You have two strong muscle groups that support it, that can pick up a bit of the slack. And now over time, your lower back is obviously going to improve in strength. It's going to get stronger, and so are all the muscles around it. As this happens, your long-term risk of injury drastically goes down. So those are the 3 things that I would recommend doing. If you are scared about back injuries, just remember the biggest risk you can take in terms of almost guaranteeing that you have back problems later down the line is to not lift weights. Okay, lifting weights safely will preserve your back. It will preserve your muscle function all over your body, and it'll improve your posture. It'll keep you safe for decades to come. So I hope that helped. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.